we will start now with the local context. As we mentioned yesterday, it will be important for us to get understanding, to have a better understanding of your local context because you are all experienced in a significant level, of course, in civil participation, but the civil participation issues are something which is really related to the local context, and it is not always possible to give good advices and to give some recipes for how we can increase the civic participation in our countries before we know what is some kind of historical circumstances, but also what is the level of development of different aspects of our own societies.
We'll try then to do a presentation of each group. So feel free to cooperate one more time to find your presenter for this part of the presentation. We took the first one, the group that first finished their part. And I guess they already made a decision to do a presentation. So if you feel free to do the presentation, please. Yeah. You can do here. So, and feel free to discuss, make questions, comments, any criticism if occurred in the meantime. So we will have a discussion for each topic for every presentation which we'll be dealing with.
We try to summarize then to find some key findings from this morning discussion. Although that you mentioned that it's not so many similarities and that all countries had a different context, which is absolutely true, of course. But we try to find some key points which are might be like a similar in all of your countries. And you will say, of course, if you agree with our key findings, that in each country there is a lack of culture of participation. Which means that from the position on a grassroots level that we are all facing with the lack of motivation of people to be involved in different activities. But when we are talking about a lack of culture of participation, we are thinking also of a national level and the lack of recognition of the role of participation from the governmental or institutional level or the decision makers. So from both positions, actually lack of culture of participation might be something similar for each of our countries. The second one is that lack of recognition of civil society role. And again, I think in a both direction, it might be important from the position of decision makers that they are not recognized completely the role of and how the civil society can contribute to the development of the countries and in decision making and in development of different policies important for the specific groups. But also, when we are talking of a lack of recognition of CCO role, I will connect that with the lack of joint vision of the role of civil society within the country context. When I say that, I mean actually on a kind of disagreement sometimes and kind of different interests of civil society organization within one country, and that kind of lack of joint vision, what might be role of civil society in the development of different processes in the country is not very clear sometimes within one country context. That lack of joint vision sometimes creates actually the obstacles for the cooperation, but we will discuss that later, because I think that that's one of the key issue which might jeopardize actually the cooperation with the decision makers when we are talking about that level. And lack of substantial mechanisms for cooperation, which again, sometimes depending of the some political context, and you all already mentioned that some kind of political willingness is lacking in your countries, and that sometimes the role of civil society, depending of some individual contexts, personal openness of different politicians, and that kind of stuff. So lack of substantial mechanisms also mean that sometimes, even if you have created mechanisms at the governmental level, implementation of that mechanisms are something which can again jeopardize some fruitful cooperation and meaningful cooperation with the decision makers. So those are like some key points from the discussion this morning. And we have a lot of different specific issues related to different countries, and the question of civil participation and civil society in generally it's so diverse, and in so many questions are around the issue that it's really very hard to get one unique answer how to solve the problem. So the problems related to civil society are very similar at the local level, which I am sure that you are facing a lot when, in your everyday job, but also at the national level. But you will see the similar situation and similar obstacles EU now in terms of how to cooperate, what kind of mechanisms are appropriate, how to have actually like a good representatives which can be involved in different processes, or how to motivate people and inform people to be involved in different important initiatives. So the questions are very similar in each of these levels, as I mentioned, like a local and national and kind of EU level, and as we saw from this discussion in our countries around the Balkan and Western Balkan and Turkey. When we are talking about the role of civil society and the government, sometimes the attitude of the civil society is okay, on the decision maker level. It's usually that they are not very open, that they are not very interested in cooperation with civil society, and you know the situation. It's obvious that's something that you are facing every day, actually. But from the other position, if we are talking about the civil society, sometimes the attitude, government don't want to listen to us, is something which is dominant in the civil society sector. So my question will be also, in terms of key findings, is what is the role of civil society to establish some kind of quality of their work, and what kind of, who and what can be a mechanisms for quality control of the work of civil society, if we are wanted to be heard by the government. I think that one level is the capacity, and this is something really, we have very diverse organization on the different level of development in different countries, and even in each of our countries, its situation is very, very different from organization to organization in terms of capacities. But also, if we want that our work be recognized and our inputs to be recognized by the government, is it a role of civil society to try to establish some kind of quality control of their work, or this is the role of somebody else, government or whatever? You know, it's a lot of different questions related to that, and especially if we are talking about the evidence-based policy making, sometimes we are talking about that civil society has a capacity, and that civil society is a good resource for, and they have a lot of analytical works and researchers and everything. But on the other side, who will decide about the quality of the analysis of, for example, of civil society, some kind of researches and everything else. So it's when we are talking about a lack of capacity, I think that it's a very diverse question, and it means a lot of different things. So in terms of implementation and in terms of some analytical work and in terms of their influence on policy level as well. Yeah, that's why we are trying to tackle some of these issues and to have actually some overview of different processes which can be related to we are relying on code of good practice for civil participation, but also a lot of these issues are completely relevant for national and local level. So you will find the connections and some kind of mechanisms proposed in this document, but also some kind of problems that you're facing are also mentioned, and it was based actually for the creation of this Code of Good Practice document of the European Union related to the civil participation. So this is utopistic, like a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, but maybe it is important just to have it in mind all the time, that kind of statement. I think that we actually all agree that there are no limitations for citizen participation. So if we are talking about the citizen participation, we need to have in mind, as a civil participation-oriented people, I will say, because we are all here, but also, I think that it's a really important message that we have to send to everyone in every point of our work, and I will say in our everyday life. Because the principle of participation is really something that you need to live. You need to have that kind of, not just as your professional orientation, but also in your personal understanding of how you will give the space to the other to make some decisions, and how you will interact with the other people, and how you will promote that kind of approach if you are talking about level of some changing political issues or anything else. So at the personal level and professional level, it is important that participation principles are something that which might be inherent to your opinions and your point of view, and from that position you can promote actually the whole concept to the public more pursuing. Yeah, is it the word? So if we are talking about that, the first point is that there is no limitations for the participation. The other question is how, and what will be the most suitable way to involve people in different processes. And this is the only question. So if you don't have a right way and right mechanisms, that will be a problematic issue. But to open the space for participation, it's something that is not actually under the question. Why we are talking about these values and basic principles? Of course, this is one of the basic human rights. And if we want kind of rule or on the level of legislation, we have it in the Human Rights Convention. On the other side,